those are my personal habits. So no judging. Don't judge. I know there's a lot of that out there, but I thought I would share my warm and fuzzies. And you know what? Love yourself enough to create your own warm and fuzzy personal financial habits. Hey, everybody. One of the things that I am always asked about are, what are your personal financial habits, Jewel? So I decided that I'd come clean here on video and share, like, personally what I actually do for my financial front to kind of give you some tips and tools. And you'll notice from some of my other videos is that I practice what I preach and what I put in my books with the Emotion Behind Money. You know, you learn what you're meant to teach. And so, you know, I was that kid that 11 brothers and sisters, parents didn't have any money, and put myself through college, got out of college with student loan debt, credit card debt, because I had a couple really good spring breaks, and car debt. And here I'm starting a new job. And my job was starting my own financial planning practice. And so I didn't get paid that normal $40,000 salary. I actually had a draw of $300 a week, which was nothing. And I had to create all my cash. So I really started my adulthood in a deficit. And that's what's led me over these last 20 plus years to creating the systems and what my personal habits are. So the ones I wanted to share, ones that have kind of stuck the test of time with me. One, for an example, when I first got started, one of the things that I used to do is I used to decide, you know, I tend to be a giver and I tend to give away the ranch. And so credit cards were a challenge for me early on. And so meaning that I would be like, okay, you have 11 brothers and sisters. Somebody needs a pair of shoes, or somebody needs this, somebody needs that. So it's always an emergency. So one of my personal habits is that I'm never going to change the fact that I'm not a giver, right? So the question is how can I give to other people as well as hit my own goals? So I actually created an account, and, you know, originally it all started out as a Murphy relief fund, because there was always somebody in the Murphy clan that needed some help. And I had decided that in my cash flows, that $100 a month went into this savings account. And I love, you guys ever hear anything? I love online savings accounts. So I created one, and I literally called it the Murphy Relief Fund. And I remember one time it was great because I've been putting in the $100 a month. And then when somebody said, Jewel, I need some help, blah, 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 blah. And I would say, okay, well, I have $320 in this account. And that's how much I can help you with, because then I wasn't giving away what my future was to then help out other people. That's where it became a win-win. And I always talk about the fact that do the and, not the or. It's not them or me, it's both of us. So I was able to help and be the giver and be who I naturally am, as well as help other people out. And one of the best things, years later, one of my brothers called me up and goes, Jewel, my car broke and I need it for my job and I need this help, blah, blah, blah. I need like $1,500. And I was like, I have $847 or whatever the number was. It was 800 and some dollars. I'll never forget it. And a couple years after he got back on his feet, he gave me the money back. He goes, here, put that back in that fund. So when somebody else in our family needs some help, that it's back in there. So he put it back in the slush fund. It kind of reminded me of that one movie, the Cinderella Man, when he paid back the money to the government, you know, in the Great Depression. But you can't change who you are. So I realized I'm a giver. So that's one of my habits. A second habit that I have is I actually create, and I tell people to do this even if you're a couple. And when I was married, I did this. We had a financial date night. Now, that doesn't really sound too sexy to too many, but it's really about self-love and self-care. So the habit for me is that I make sure that I sit down with myself once a quarter. Now, the reason I do once a quarter is because that's when I get some cash flows from my company, and then I plan out what my next 3 months is going to be. And so then I choose those 3 months from a place of empowerment. And a lot of times I'll like go to my favorite restaurant and I'll go sit and do it then, because it's something that I want to really choose from a place that feels expansionary. And I could choose all these things financially that over time suck the life out of me, like paying alimony or like high city tuitions for my kids' school. Like there are certain things that could certainly damper my perspective, but that's where like I go somewhere where I like where I'm going to go to eat. And not like It's not expensive places. There are places that I geek out about, that I go to, that so that I'm in a good mood, because you don't want this to be financial torture. It's something that's like, okay, how am I going to choose my life these next 3 months, and then put in place environment, and then you follow it, right? So I do that once a quarter, and I plan everything out. And I find that when I skip that in that quarter, that's when I fall off the track. I'm just like you, right? We fall off the track if we don't have the awareness of where things are going. All right. So that is number 2 of what my personal habits are. Number 3, back in the day, I used to, when I decided that I was going to spend $160 a week in variable spending, of course, that was when my budget was a lot lower, but I would go to the ATM on Monday, and when that $160 was gone, I was out of money. And I remember the first week it was gone by Wednesday. The next week it was gone by Thursday. The next week it was like, it's funny how you make different choices when you don't have the cash to pass things over, back in my 20s when I was doing it on a cash basis. And if those of you who have credit card challenges, like, that's a really great way to do it. Go on a cash basis and just choose your life from the reality of your cash. And I know that might hurt your heart and it may depress you, but you have to feel the feelings of the reality that you've created, because that's the only way to the other side. And so today I kind of have an upgraded version of that same thing in my personal habits, that to me, you've got to create financial systems that are simple and ones that are just easy. There's too much like, is there a financial software that I should use to track my cash flows? And how do I download? Blah, blah. That's all just a gosh darn distraction. It's a distraction. So no more of the distractions. What I want you to do is just use your notes on your iPhone. Seriously, you guys. Like on my notes section right here on my iPhone, I literally have one that's called spending. And I list out the spending that I do. And what it means is that I choose how much I'm okay with going on my credit card every month so that I can get the miles. But how many of us actually know what that running total is as you're swiping that card month to month? For me, to have the awareness, and I literally I go pumped gas. Okay, I'm adding, $55 onto my running total for that month. And that way I'm starting to make decisions that are in alignment with my desires. It's not that I can't have anything, but maybe I'm going to choose this restaurant over that restaurant because I can go eat there and get a really great salad, and I'm going to pay like $40 as opposed to that sit down white tablecloth place where I'm going to spend $160, right? And get just as good quality food. And if my spending that month is on other things, well, then I'm making that choice and I'm not finding it out when I get the credit card bill and going, I just created a spending hangover, because I definitely don't want a spending hangover. So the fourth habit that I have is when a payment is done, or when, whether it's a car payment or if I'm done paying, like when my nanny left last year, it could be for some people daycare. It could be that you paid for a family member some. It could be your car note is paid off. Whatever it is that you just finished paying and it's something that's no longer shelling out. It's about redirecting it exactly with what it is that you want to move to in your future. All the time I do it. And I always tell people, like, I take a third of it and I pay off more debt. If I have any more debts to pay off, I have a third of it. Do I want to spend the present moment? And keep in mind, I'm very, very mindful that spending in the present moment are things like vacation or a new bed or a new car. So that spending money doesn't necessarily mean you're using it like to eat in restaurants. It could be a big spending goal, and you have a savings account set up so that, now I'm going to redirect that $200 once to go to there. So then when it gets there, I'm just going to go buy that thing with cash. Because you know how much more fun it is to go buy something with cash than on credit and have it linger? Way much more fun. All right, number 5, I kind of talked about it where I split it in a third, your past, present, and your future. I do, whenever I have newfound money, whether it's tax returns, a bill is no longer being paid, or a bonus, a raise, whatever, I always divide it into cleaning up my past and spending and my future buckets. Why? Because then I always get what I want and I don't emotionally trigger myself into my old patterning. Another personal habit of mine is that I teach my kids on how to, this is really, really important to me. So my children, I want to teach them how to get free money from their employer. There's a lot of employers out there that will have retirement plan matching monies. And what I want to do there is I want to say, hey, you actually are, My son gets an allowance. All the kids get an allowance at their dad's house for doing chores over there. Well, I told him, I said, okay, well, you get this money at dad's house or money for your birthdays or Christmas, whatever it is that you do. I'm going to match that money if you put it into an investment account. And they're like, huh? My one son totally grabbed it. He's got thousands of dollars in an account now. It's hilarious. And then my daughter goes, why are you doing that for him and not me? And I said, and then actually I went to respond, and my son goes, she sat us both down at the table about 2 years ago and told it to both of us. You just didn't do it. And I did. Well, guess who's trying to catch up to her older brother? It's hilarious. It works because they're like, I want free money too. I'm helping them build the muscles and build the talents for when they get their first job and there's free matching money. They're 22 years old and they're going to take all the free money they can get because I want to build those muscles in their noodle right now. That's another one of my personal habits. And the last one is I want you to put things on autopilot just like me. I am super busy. You're super busy. We got a lot going on. If you still try to control and manually go, okay, I'm going to pay all these things first. And then whatever's left over, then I'm going to put it to the side. Guess what? Never going to happen. It's never going to be efficient. You need to put your investments like I do. My personal habit is that the minute I get something, it's got to be on autopilot. I want it to draft right out of my checking account, just like my mortgage payment does, into my savings and investment accounts. I have it on autopilot and then it just rides. And every time I do it, and then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're going, I didn't realize that much is in my savings account because I started, after my divorce, I wasn't able to save on a monthly basis. And so when I got that first $100 that I was able to do, I started with $100 a month, and I'm up to putting $800 a month now into my savings account. And it's amazing on how fast that can grow and how fast that can build. And so those are my personal habits. So no judging, don't judge. I know there's a lot of that out there, but I thought I would share my warm and fuzzies. And you know what? Love yourself enough to create your own warm and fuzzy personal financial habits. All right. Go to juliemurphy.com. We got lots more to help you, and we'll be here to get you to where you want to be. Ciao for now.